question.
All right, let's get into the Rotoworld headlines because there is plenty to go around in the NFL world right now, and we will start with Mike White. Mike White is ready to roll against the Lions. If you said this over summer, people might laugh at you, but Mike White projected to be obviously a potential big-time streaming option this week as we head into the fantasy playoffs, Barry.
Yeah, that was the only question. The only question is health, right? But you love the production so far, right? I mean, the guy's been throwing a ton. He's averaging over 40 pass attempts a game, over 300 passing yards per game, whether it's in good situations where, they're at home up against Chicago or they're on the road and they're down against Minnesota. Either way, you like the fact that they're throwing a ton. You see it there on your screen in terms of what he's done the last 3 weeks. Threw it 44 times against the Bills as well, and now they're home against the Lions. Detroit, no team in the NFL gives up more fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks, guys, than the Detroit Lions. They're allowing the third most passing yards per game over the last 4 weeks as well. He's my QB 11 this week. I mean, again, if there's no greater testament to how wacky this fantasy football season has been, it's the fact that Mike White is a legitimate top 12 option in the fantasy playoffs this year.
If you are having some quarterback troubles, fire up Mike White. And like you said, the Detroit Lions, just look at the game they were in last week versus the Vikings. The Vikings lit them up, albeit in a losing effort. Now, Mike White hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in a couple of games, but if anybody's worried about that, right, the Detroit Lions have given up 21 touchdown passes this season, which is the 8th worst in the league. And, right, this game over-under is 44.5. That is a high total for a Jets-Lions game in a game that's going to be 35 degrees. So I like this matchup for Mike White.
And to support that even further, the Lions' run defense has been better lately, which tells you the Jets might go into a throwing script, which Mike White, Garrett Wilson, we saw what Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson did last week. Barry, let's take a look at your top 10 quarterback rankings.
By the way, to your point, over the last month, the Lions, the 8th best run defense in the NFL, the 3rd worst pass defense in the NFL, as I just said.
The script is there.
Against, the script is there. I don't think the Lions have anyone in their secondary that can keep up with Garrett Wilson. Elijah Moore. We'll see if they get Corey Davis back as well. And so, suddenly Mike White. Here we go.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
And let's see the rest of your quarterback rankings.
If you're looking for a quarterback, if you need, here are my rankings right here. Especially, by the way, if you lost Kyler Murray,
yes,
and Mike White is a very viable option in the fantasy playoffs here. I could see you look, again, this is my top 10 rankings, but if you had Trevor Lawrence and he's playing the Cowboys, I could see you wanting to play Mike White over Trevor Lawrence. Geno Smith on a short week against the Niners. I could see again, this is where I have them, but I could see you starting Mike White over one of those guys. I wouldn't look at you weird if that happened as well. Again, those ranks might change as we get through the week. I had to rank it as if there's still a chance that White doesn't go because of the rib injury, but as of a Wednesday, seems like all systems go for Mike White.
Yeah, Robert Saleh saying that he's going to get treatment during the early portion of practice, then he's going to throw during team drills. All indications are that he will be starting, hearing that from Saleh. Let's move over to the Green Bay Packers here. Aaron Jones has been dealing with injuries almost the entire season. Lately, it's been the shin, but he practices on Tuesday. Romeo Doubs is confident he'll play versus the Rams as well. Lawrence, breaking down the Packers' backfield, we've seen A.J. Dillon getting going late. Aaron Jones has been somebody to lean on all year. How do you break down this backfield?
Yeah, so, coming into the season, we all felt like both running backs were going to be we thought they could both be, we thought A.J. Dillon was an RB2, Aaron Jones as an RB1. Now it's more so like Aaron Jones as an RB2, and now Dillon has played himself back into a flex play with over 60 rushing yards in 3 of his last 4 games. So if you look at it like that, you can approach it that way. And look at all the injuries we deal with. Starting A.J. Dillon in a flex versus the Rams in the playoffs, you could definitely do a hell of a lot worse. And as far as Aaron Jones, you fired him up already.
Yeah, I think he had some nice production the last time we saw him. Obviously, the Packers on a bye, and so we saw A.J. Dillon last time in Week 13. He scored a touchdown. He's actually scored now in back-to-back weeks. But Aaron Jones left that game early due to injury, and so I felt the increased workload on Dillon was because of the injury. Jones off the injury report. He's going to practice today. You see it there on your screen. Dillon, because the touchdowns, actually has more fantasy points. And again, remember, Jones left the last game early there. Dillon's getting more rushes. Again, all that is due to the fact that Jones did not finish that last game. I have Jones as a top 12 play this week. A.J. Dillon comes in at running back 33 for me. So I think he's a touchdown-dependent flex in this one. If there's a positive, they're at home. Packers are at home, so they're playing in Lambeau. Rams traveling have cross-country Monday night game, and they're a touchdown favorite. Right now, the Packers are a touchdown favorite, so second half, do they run the ball a little bit? I do think these days it's actually easier to pass against the Rams than it is to run against the Rams. They still have a pretty decent defensive line. And also just, I don't have a stat for this, guys, but Aaron Rodgers, it's looking like it's getting late early. This is a Monday night game. It's a primetime game at Lambeau. I think Aaron Rodgers wants to, we'll see if he can ball out, but I think he's going to want to.
He better watch out for comeback Baker, though.
I mean,
comeback Baker.
Right. Suddenly it's a shootout on Monday night. But my point is that they get in close, and normally you'd be like, all right, they're going to give it to Dillon, and he bangs it home. I could see Aaron saying, like, no, I'm checking out of that. I'm gonna bootleg, and I'm gonna try to get myself a cheap touchdown pass here, something like that, or run it in myself. So I don't know. I'm nervous about Dillon. You're more optimistic than I am, Lawrence. To me, Dillon is again a risky touchdown-dependent flex who's just outside my top 30. Aaron Jones, though, is still a must-start.
So what about Romeo Doubs, who's now returning? I know it's kind of hard to trust. He got a lot of targets when he was healthy. He's been out for a while. Now it's the fantasy playoffs, so I feel like the risk is a little different here.
We haven't seen him since week 9. And in that time, Christian Watson has become a thing with
exploded.
A capital T. And so, just again, it's the fantasy playoffs. It is win or go home. And so I don't want to get cute at all. We have no teams on a bye. You've got every single person. So I think you'd have to be pretty desperate and in a pretty deep league to trust Romeo Doubs. I don't mind you picking him up and stashing him and seeing what happens when he's back with Christian Watson off of the bye. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game and get him back. But for me, I feel like Aaron Jones and Christian Watson are literally the only two Packers I feel good about starting in this game, and that includes Aaron Rodgers, Lawrence.
Yeah, so look, again, how the tides have turned. Earlier was Christian Watson when he got drafted, got hurt. Dobbs make a couple of plays, he gets hurt. You ain't getting the spotlight back from Christian Watson. This is the thing about it, right? Like you said, Matthew, we have not seen this man playing around. See, we don't know what his role is now, and I'll be real, it's dudes like Ben Skowronek that I would start before Rome. If I was in a situation like that, I would start Ben Skowronek, Tutu Atwell, all of them
Trent
dudes.
Irwin? We always run show.
I would start some of them Rams receivers, you know what I'm saying, before Dobbs, because we don't know what his role is now.
That's a great point, Lawrence. In the playoffs, we are trying to, more than anything else, narrow down and listen. Fantasy football has a bunch of fluky stuff that happens, and so anything that is unknown, we try to get rid of. And there's always going to be unknown. And to Lawrence's point, we have no idea. Is he behind? Is he behind Randall Cobb in terms of snaps? We don't know how. The only thing we know is that Christian Watson is going to get his, and so I don't want to. We at least have some sense that there's at least somewhat of a connection between Skowronek and Baker Mayfield or Tutu Atwell, who got almost double-digit targets last week. So I'm with Lawrence here. I don't mind picking up Dobbs, but I have no interest in him on Monday night. I want to see it first.
Yeah.
Staying in the NFC, Desmond Ridder, the Falcons' third-round pick, will make his first career start about the Saints. And obviously, guys, this, from a fantasy perspective, is not about Ridder, but what he can do for the pass catchers in this offense that we're clearly limited by Marcus Mariota all year. Lawrence, do you expect any kind of bump, especially for somebody like Drake London?
First off, it's about damn time they put Ridder in.
It took way too long.
Secondly, I don't know if this is going to affect him in a positive way. Like, Drake London is going to have to get his opportunities and make the most of them, because you got to do a new quarterback, but you still got the same coach in the same system doing the same damn things, and he going to run that ball if it kill him.
Right.
So I didn't think like, oh, Drake London about to go off. No, like, bring me back Matt Ryan, then I think something in. But until then,
a diehard Falcons fan right here.
I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good.
Yeah, about damn time. By the way, that's what Lizzo is actually singing about. Is Desmond Ridder starting. That's I swear to God. Like if you listen to the lyrics closely, it's really
it's a lot.
Check it out. Lizzo is literally singing about Desmond Ridder. It's super weird and specific, but that's what she's singing about. Love me some Lizzo. I'll just say this: I'm with Lawrence here. No, thank you. Again, just what we talked about with the Romeo Doubs. Like, hey, I want to narrow. I want to get rid of as much randomness and unknown things in the playoffs as I can. We have no idea what Desmond Ridder is going to look like. We expect it to be a very run-heavy offense. I want no part of Drake London. Could you talk yourself into Cordero Patterson? Sure, as another touchdown-dependent flex. Like, again, he's in that A.J. Dillon route. Like if he scores, he pays off for you, but you don't feel great about his usage so far, especially against the Saints. Saints have a pretty good defense.
Yeah, that's a big factor
that's
too.
the thing. They're on the road at New Orleans. This should be a tough matchup here. I mean, the over/under is 43, so we don't expect a ton of fireworks in this game. Should be a slow-paced game.
Andy Dalton's still playing.
Desmond Ridder versus Andy Dalton.
I think the Falcons just got to see if they got to draft a quarterback in 2023. That's what they're going to use.
No, and it's a super smart thing. Like, give the kid some run. But I just, and I'll even say this. Again, you're in a deeper league. You're in a 2-quarterback league, a super flex league, and you're like, you just like Kyler Murray. I'm in that situation.
For sure.
And I prefer, like, I put in bids on Colt McCoy. Like, I prefer Colt McCoy. I prefer Baker Mayfield. I prefer Sam Darnold. Like, I prefer any of those.
Definitely Darnold.
Right, any of those guys over Desmond Ridder this week in his first start against the Saints.
It feels like a script that Arthur Smith will take the ball out of his hands, especially on the road, a tough matchup against the Saints, like you said. All right, more odd quarterback situations. This is not one you're chasing on the waiver wire in any sense. The Texans are maintaining a 2-quarterback system against the Chiefs. Fellas, people laugh at this when you hear about it in college. When it makes it to the NFL level against the Chiefs, this was Lovie Smith's quote, "I thought it was effective. 2 different flavors, and that's always tough for a defense to prepare with what we were doing with them."
Yeah. It was vanilla and vanilla bean. Like, those are the flavors.
Yeah, they're like tomato,
French,
tomato.
Right,
What are you talking
vanilla,
about?
French
right?
vanilla, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, I just, But yeah, here's the only reason it's interesting. There's only one reason why it's interesting, and that is that on Yahoo, Jeff Driscoll actually qualifies at tight end. So you can play him at quarterback or tight end. We're back to Taysom Hill and that controversy. Now, it's only on Yahoo. He qualifies only as a quarterback, I believe, elsewhere. But on Yahoo, he does qualify as a tight end. And there's a guy who had 7 runs for 36 yards against the Cowboys. And so, they're playing Kansas City. The Chiefs are a bottom 12 run defense over the last month. And so in a situation where you're desperate for a tight end in a Yahoo league, could you talk yourself into Jeff Driscoll as a poor man's Taysom Hill? I guess like I would rank him as a high-end tight end too.
I'm trying to figure out where this tight end stuff came from. Like, he ain't play no tight end in college. They just making up stuff out here in the whole 2 quarterback.
I gotta send a note to Yahoo. I don't know what's going on.
Something like he didn't like. They trying to say he fixed. That's what they trying to say. They trying to say,
and he's not though.
They trying to say he got junk in the trunk or something. Because they
with
just
Taysom Hill, it sort of makes sense because he's always been kind of this Swiss Army knife player.
Yep.
Jeff Driscoll's a quarterback.
He's a quarterback.
He was a quarterback in college. He's been a quarterback in the pros throughout his career.
Yeah.
Like, he's been a backup. Like, he had some run with the Lions. I mean, he's been around a lot. But
he's
like
evaluated as a quarterback.
Right.
Just because you're athletic doesn't mean you're just a tight end.
No.
Let me
That's
scale
what I
back
tell my
here.
coaches. They're constantly like, "Oh, we're playing you a tight end." I'm like, I get it.
I'm athletic,
I get it.
but
I'm
I can still
athletic.
throw.
I can still throw. Do you understand the cannon I got here?
Yes.
No, right. So
You
I
don't
got to
just
talk
get the
him into
bald
it.
rifle nickname for nothing.
No, exactly. The ball.
This is what you did in Little League, though.
Right.
Just run 2 quarterbacks and I think Lovie Smith just like, man, the hell with it. Let's see what works.
Yeah, and let's get this season over with.
No, Lovie Smith is like, we're tanking for Bryce or whatever. I don't know. They're like figuring it out. Rich, whatever. So that's the only reason I bring it up. It's worth noting. Like, see what your tight end options are if you play on Yahoo. It would be dicey. It is a risky start. But again, like, if you're just like, hey man, I'm sifting through a bunch of junk.
Somebody gonna do it.
Somebody
gonna do it.
Somebody will do it.
They gonna get them 6 points.
Hey, as long as we're talking tight ends, just very quickly, just worth noting, Dallas Goedert got activated off the IR, so the Eagles now have 21 days to activate him.
That's big.
We'll see if he plays this weekend or not, but it's worth noting he's only rostered in 86% of Yahoo leagues, so he's probably taken. But it's worth seeing if somebody in your league waived him thinking he wasn't coming back, and just check. You never know. Every once in a while, somebody does something dumb in your league. So just want to bring that up as well. And and if you've been stashing Dallas Goedert, there's a chance you get him back on Sunday, but certainly sooner rather than later.
All right. I wanted to ask, and I think it's so insane, with Dameon Pierce's injury, can you buy into Driscoll running at all? But it just seems so insane to start him in a playoff game, not as a roster stash right now.
The only way you're starting him is in a deep league at tight end, and you're truly desperate.
Yeah. Who would you start, Desmond Ridder or Jeff Driscoll? At tight end. Desmond Ridder at quarterback or Jeff Driscoll at tight end.
I guess I would start Desmond Ridder just because he'll play all the snaps.
Yeah,
you're guaranteed that.
But I mean, like it's ugly town.
It
is. You know.
I mean, if they just gonna do that, can we get Yahoo to make Justin Fields a tight end too?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Can we get that?
Don't encourage them. Don't encourage them.
Just tweet them at Yahoo Fantasy. Go ahead.
All right, we're gonna take our first break.
We just report it. We don't make up the rules, man. We just report them.
When we're back, it's a little keep it open or close it out.
Let's go. Let's go. I thought you were gonna show up in a Desmond Ridder jersey, dude.
Yeah, right.
Not hitching his wagon to that.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.